So why was it so important to you, Governor, to be there in person?
Well, Gretchen, I've been interested in this since I was a very young man in terms of foreign policy in and of itself, and particularly with Israel. And, you know, I do run a pretty big, important, powerful state, and I just thought it was important to make a positive statement towards Israel, and also have great concerns, not just in terms of the threat that Israel will face with a nuclear Iran, but I also worry about the threat to us, and I worry about the proliferation, in other words, the spread of this very destructive material that could get into the hands of people like Hamas, Hezbollah. I mean, these are organizations, we know they have no limit. So, you know, I thought the Prime Minister did a good job, and I'll tell you what he said. First, he praised the President. The second thing he said, don't trust people with a bad deal. I've been involved in negotiations. Don't fall in love with your goals, because sometimes you can make mistakes. But thirdly, he said, look, if Iran will change their way, Gretchen, I think this is important, if Iran will change their way and start to join the community of nations, then we can talk. And I thought that was you know, the President said he didn't hear anything new. I think that's a pretty good roadmap myself.
Yeah, the President did say he didn't hear anything new. I wanted to take it a little bit more personally with you, though, because I know a lot of people at home, and myself included, who have children, you know, are wondering what the world's going to look like if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, and some of those other groups that you mentioned. I know you have concern for your daughters, right?
I've been worried about this for a long time, even before I had kids, and thought about maybe there ought to be some sort of a registry at the United Nations, for example. I suggested this many years ago, where if you are dealing with these sophisticated materials that can lead to these kind of destructive weapons, that, you know, the world ought to know about it. I mean, that was many, many years ago, and now we're actually facing a country like Iran that has been so much against America, so much against Israel, so much against the world that shares our Western. If they end up with a nuclear weapon, and if they start proliferating, I mean, we have now arrangements that if North Korea starts to send ships out, this is my understanding, start to send ships out on the high seas, we have an ability to stop it, to make sure they're not proliferating. So if everybody in the world starts getting nuclear weapons, what is the likelihood that at some point those weapons get used in my lifetime, but most important, in my daughters? I have twin daughters that are 15, and I worry about them.
Yep. I have 10 and 12, so I hear you on that. All right, now, your appearance at Netanyahu's speech spurring talks, of course, presidential campaign. You want to make any announcement?
Well, Gretchen, all my options are on the table, and I'm doing two things. One, I'm pushing for a federally balanced budget, which I think would restrain Congress and force them to make decisions and not kick the can down the road. And secondly, I want people to know about Ohio, because, you know, we're doing so much better. We're up almost 300,000 jobs. We're running surpluses. We got the most tax cuts in the country, and we're taking care of people who live in the shadows. So I think people need to know it, and I intend to keep traveling and letting people know. But no options are off the table. Hey, one more thing I want to mention about the speech yesterday.
Okay.
I saw people in the chamber, particularly Democrats, standing up and cheering. And I thought, wow, my goodness, you know, we're united. And then they left the floor and they started, you know, in some ways, viciously attacking Netanyahu.
Yeah, some of them did.
I mean, if you don't like what the guy's saying, if you don't like what he's saying, don't stand up and cheer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, well, it's pretty simple. Don't stand up and cheer, then run outside and say something different. I'm disappointed in my Democratic friends.
Yeah, some of them did say that he was fear-mongering, but I'm not sure if they were the same ones who were actually in the speech or the ones who decided to boycott. More than 50 of them did. John Kasich, the governor of Ohio.
Well, the ones that were there, they were all standing up and cheering. Great. Okay, Gretchen, we're cheering for you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I love Ohio. I worked in Cincinnati, Cleveland, and my husband's from Columbus. I got it covered. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Thank you.